form should you choose to speak. Anyone speaking will be required to stand at the lectern, and there will be no speaking from the audience. The meeting will be conducted in the following manner. For each agenda item, the BAR will hear a report from the planning staff. After the staff report, the applicant will be given an opportunity to present their application and demonstrate that it complies with the relevant criteria. Any resident or owner of a business or property in Clemson is allowed to comment on the application and provide feedback to the BAR at each review stage. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to provide comments and feedback. Please consider appointing a spokesperson if there are multiple people wishing to speak. Please do not repeat information already presented by someone else. Questions asked by the board during a presentation will not count toward the time limit. At its discretion, the board may allow the applicant 3 minutes for rebuttal. All comments and questions must be directed to the chairperson, who will respond or direct the question to the appropriate party for response. Any written comments received by the planning office have been submitted to the BAR and will be considered in its decision. After all comments are offered, the chairperson will close the hearing portion of the meeting, and the BAR will discuss and evaluate the information presented in the context of the requirements of the city code. We ask that you please turn off all cell phones or place them in silent mode. As a reminder to board members, please avoid side conversations and crosstalk. Again, welcome to the meeting. Okay, so our first item is to adopt the minutes from last BAR meeting. Wasn't any changes or any edits that needed to be made, so is there anybody willing to make a motion that we approve the minutes from last meeting?
So moved.
A second? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, so the minutes have been adopted. That moves us into our action items for the night. Our first action item is 2025 AR07. Applicant Quentin Brown, C&W Estates LLC, is requesting review of a new commercial building at 203 Frontage Road. So we'll hear from Jacob first.
Okay, so they came. This is our third time in front of us for this application. They did make some changes to the landscaping plan and updated the renderings for accuracy and bring in the material samples that were requested. So with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant for their presentation.
Awesome. And if you were to state your name and you get up to the podium.
Good evening, Quentin Brown.
Good evening.
Representative for 203 Frontage Road. And as Jacob said, we brought samples. I have samples I'll give out to you here in a moment. And we updated landscape plan for Mr. Nathan over there. And hopefully he'll like what he sees. I do have a slight comment on there as we go. But everything else I've adjusted as you've requested. And I've also brought grout samples, Mr. Allison. So I'll pass those around now. I also have shingle sample. I'll leave this up here. It's kind of big unless you want it. I also have a sample of the windows. That was as requested. Primary color right now is going to be black. Same here. But in case they can't get material, the alternate's going to be bronze. But they look very, very similar. So should be from a naked eye, you're not going to be able to tell from far.
And the awning and the windows will match the same color?
Correct. Yep. Everything's going to be black.
Got it.
But if you end up having to go with the bronze on the windows, will the awning?
Awning will still be black.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. You want to go ahead and make your comment? You said you had for the landscaping.
Yeah, absolutely. So the hollies on the front of Frontage Road, I eliminated a few of them. If you've been by the property recently, he no longer has hollies lining his property. So I was either going to take them all out or just have very few because it would look funny if I had a whole row of hollies and he's got zero. So
Yep.
That's the reason I marked some of those out.
So the only thing I would recommend is And this doesn't necessarily, like, I'm fine with the quantity, but as far as aesthetics, how you drive past the building, instead of having what looks like a gap tooth hedge, you could have, you know, a group of 3 on the corner of the parking, a group of 3 on the corner of the parking, and then you have sort of that area in between the parking areas. So that way it seems more intentional, not just like every other one got skipped. And that way, I think aesthetically, you're not creating this sort of gapped view of your building as you're driving by. And I think it would work better, but as far as quantity, I mean, either way,
Yeah.
it's fine, but I would just consider a little
Yeah, I'm actually
different
fine.
on the grouping.
I'm fine eliminating all of them if you'd like to get rid of all of them.
I'm sure you would be.
Yeah.
A few things I would, the smattering of muley grass that you have, like sort of the one-offs around the building, I'd rather those do better grouped. I mean, they're more of an ornamental grass. They provide structure by supporting each other. Just having a single one doesn't really create what you want it to, and it's probably just gonna get removed within a couple of years or. So I would rather see those all pulled together somewhere, versus just having one next to the sidewalk here and there. And then you do not specify on the plant list for the arborvitae, it says 1 gallon. No, I'm sorry, it says 15 gallon. But you don't specify which variety. And I would just be careful, like some of those get 20 feet wide by 45 feet tall. So just whoever's doing your landscaping, just pick the right shrub for, I mean, you don't have that much room between your building and the sidewalk.
Absolutely.
And wherever it touches the building, it's a conifer, so that's gonna die. You aren't gonna have any leaves, and then it's just gonna become like a maintenance issue. There are some that stay very nice, tight, narrow, that could work there, but
Yeah, the plans to use the same one he has on his building, which I think are the kind of smaller ones that they don't grow as big.
I've got a question about your elevation on A200. I'm looking at every window seems to have a different mullion pattern. And I can't figure out for the life of me what I'm looking at and what's accurate. So I understand that there's large panes with a Clemson pane over top is the general theme, except in the little curved story. There's different shading on different pieces of glass. There's different mullion patterns on different windows. I don't understand what's going on there.
It's almost like the walls behind it are being shown.
yeah.
That may be what you're seeing. Sorry, I'm Brandon Hawk, I'm the architect. It may be the fact that the program's allowing you to see through the windows and you're
Well,
seeing
they need to be, I mean, we need to see what mullions are actually on the facade, because this doesn't distinguish that.
the. And
Yeah, I think we're looking
I'm going
at-
by memory, so I don't.
If you look at this, it looks like we're looking at doors, interior doors, and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
And this one has mullions all over the place. and
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're seeing through there. That's a drawing error. I'm
We
sorry.
shouldn't see them.
Right.
We need a record of what we're actually gonna get.
Yeah, I think the rendering more represents what
The
you're.
rendering's so dark, we can't see any mullions whatsoever. So we can't see the mullions at all.
It looks kind of different on the screen than how it prints out.
So we need,
Reference though, they are gonna have the transom windows above.
I understand.
They're all gonna match.
but I think.
It's kind of a representation of the building beside it. We're trying to match the building beside it without going with residential windows.
I understand, but we just need to have documentation of what's actually gonna be here, and this doesn't accurately reflect that.
mean, it's basically the same as the last time, all we did was change the colors.
I understand, but your verbal description of it isn't a record of what is actually built. This is the record of what's gonna be built.
So it's on the next page, A201, is that more representative of what these windows on A200 look like?
Can you repeat the question?
On A201, are those windows more representative of what you're using as A200? Because A200 looks
Yes,
like
sir.
there's
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah,
more
that's what you're
breakouts.
looking at.
Okay.
Yes, sir, on the back side too.
Okay, so
They're
on
exactly
A200,
like
that's
that.
what they should be looking
Yes, sir. And it was just a thing of trying to make the, if you look at the other drawings, if you're trying to make the back wall, the trash.
Yeah. Because if you see that middle one, the T1, it looks like there's like 20
Oh,
panes.
yeah, I understand.
But there's
It's
not.
like a view range, so when you're trying to show the back wall of the,
Okay.
of the trash thing right there, the view range makes it look through the
So
windows.
there's not 18 panes of glass in that window.
No, it's exactly what you see on the front.
So on that back one, if you take on the two-story elevation, if you take the bottom 3-bay window, that's the same above, and then the two flanges are basically two transom heights, kind of split.
Here's a matter of protocol, is I don't see how we can approve something that doesn't accurately reflect what's there. And we can all verbally kind of describe what we think we're seeing.
So, what's the page in your left hand, right there?
Right here?
Yeah.
A200.
A101.
A101? So A001 has a perspective that's easier to identify what's actually there. I mean, I understand what the intent is.
Yeah.
It would be more trouble to change all the windows to reflect the
Well, I
18 different
understand,
panes.
but that's your responsibility to provide an accurate set of documents that
Right.
reflect what you're building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can just turn off those interior layers, right?
It's the other side of the building. It's because of the view range, and you're trying to show the back wall of the, where the dumpster or trash collection would be. And so,
But I mean, that drawing is,
yeah, because see, if you see this back wall right there, that
Yeah.
back wall's all the way at the front of the, or at the other side of the building. So to show that back wall,
I mean, you could
there's
just turn,
probably a way I can go in there and
yeah,
gloss
You
the
just turn
windows
the
where you can
glass
see through them or
into
something.
something opaque.
or just turn on.
Oh,
But also didn't want to make
like a
a
view.
dark tinted window and then you say, oh, well, is that really the glass, the glazing you're putting in there? So,
Anything else we would like to ask of the applicant?
I have a question on the samples, David, the little, I'm not sure what those are, where they go.
These are the window frames and the awning.
Well, the color, because it's got texture to it. It says building envelope, I'm not sure where that goes.
Yeah, that's the windows and the frames for the doors.
They have ridges in them? Storefront?
It's probably gonna be storefront flat, is.
Okay,
not-
so
it's
you're
not
showing
gonna-
just
It's
the
just a
color?
sample, yeah.
Also, for your parking lot, I see you have 8 pervious pavement lots,
Yep.
or spots.
Yep.
Okay, so just those 8?
It depends. I mean, once we finish the engineering drawings, we're gonna submit those with the city to see if we can add additional parking. If we can't,
Okay.
then we're gonna keep it like that, and this could be 8 pervious spots.
I was just wondering why you chose pervious.
That was just the engineered design from
Okay,
2013, yeah.
I hope he does it.
I'd rather not, because it's more expensive, so,
Well, hey, it's around your plants, it'll help irrigate them naturally.
yeah. The problem I'm running into, well, I will run into, is the stormwater's already in. So I'm kind of matching what they have at the date they put it in. So I have to kind of, if I have to mitigate more water, I'm gonna need more pervious. So we'll see. Yeah.
so Todd, just for clarification, it states on number 1 that they are requesting review. Are they, is it just review or is it for approval?
This is
You haven't voted on approval tonight.
Okay.
But this is my protocol question. How can we approve something that's not an accurate reflection of what's there?
It's up to you guys. I mean, there are renderings of it that are accurate.
I think the three,
You know,
So,
just says specify as shown on page.
I don't see a clear rendering of anything.
but I think the perspectives show, the rendering.
so I guess I would ask,
If the window's there, you're gonna see through it.
And just have them come back, just say, submit, a cleaned up version for, to send an email around to you guys.
We can tentatively approve the project where we need the drawings for the windows too.
Yeah.
I think this is what we're after.
Yeah.
That doesn't have any
Yeah,
background.
it's a problem of view range, and I didn't catch it. I was trying to show the back wall where the dumpster would go, and then I didn't think about seeing through the windows.
Yeah, because that, you can see that pretty clearly. Not so much with the other one.
so before we talk amongst ourselves, any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. Is there any public input on this? No. Okay, so now we move back to discussing, so the notes that I took thus far include clustering the oak leaf holly around the corners of the parking, grouping the muley grass, and then specifying, or just making sure it's a tight and narrow arborvitae. And then the idea that we would, if we approve this, we'd like to see a final rendering that shows the actual mullion locations on that rear elevation, correct?
Yep.
Is that, did I miss anything in terms of?
On the south of it.
Yes. So any other comments or ideas or discussion?
I have one on it's A001, the bottom drawing. I think it would be nicer to extend that brick on this middle section rather than drop it there. That's just my
The
opinion.
reason we did that is so to help with the vertical,
Oh, it was different before?
to break it up. If you carry it all the way across, it starts feeling like a ranch house on top of a big foundation.
And the existing building, Chris, drops
Yeah.
down.
I mean, this looks 100% better than the first submission.
That's the perfect way to describe that, a ranch on top of a foundation.
This was an old one.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Been there, done that.
Okay, any other comments or feedback before we move forward?
I think it's good.
Okay, so I'm going to reread what I understand to be where we're sitting, and then I'll ask for some motions. So when it comes to the landscape plan, okay, where our suggestion is that with the oak leaf holly, instead of kind of the, alternating blank spot holly, to cluster maybe 3 at the corners of each of the parking bays right there, grouping the muley grass, and then making sure that that arborvitae is tighter, more narrow, and that we see a rendering that shows the actual mullion locations on that south elevation, just to make sure that it is what we think we see. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion to that effect?
Well, I have one other,
Okay.
I mean, if we're gonna have a horizontal mullion that breaks up the window into a small pane and a large pane, it seems to me that horizontal mullion and the sill of these two bracketing short windows should be lined up and not split that short window in half. So, now what I don't know is the head height of that sill of those short windows. So this one that has the center, that it just seems really odd that you're breaking up a small window in half there. That the proportions on the existing building are quite different. And I would say to lower, at least on that upper level, all those intermediate mullions to the sill line
To the sill of the,
of the bracketing windows which actually eliminates one intermediate mullion on the short windows. And maybe raise the, depending upon the height of that break. I mean, you don't want it right at eye level when you're standing inside the building, but maybe you have to raise the sill of those shorter windows to align it, but it just seems odd, the proportions of all that. And the fact that you're breaking up a short window.
Could you even consider lowering the sill on those two?
Well, I would just raise it. I mean, I think it's fine to have
Just raise
that
it up to the-
offset thing, just that seems really ill proportioned and how inappropriate to break up that short window.
It is right now, you know, that horizontal mullion is currently lining up with what's on either side. But then the idea is when you get those two kind of bracketed windows, it's almost like they're just cut horizontally in half.
Yeah, and I would say,
Yeah, but it lines up with the, I mean, it lines up with the larger ones. I see why they did it.
yeah, but you can lower them all. You have that line consistently across all those windows.
And that's gonna be at an awkward height. Right now, it looks like it's at like 7.5 feet.
Again, we're guessing.
Well, I mean, they have a dimension
Where?
to the right. It looks like to the top of the windows is 8 feet 6 inches. So, I mean,
Well, I still think on those two flanking windows, if you just made them a little bit, if you lowered the sill, not all the way down to the three middle, but if you
Well, that
lower,
would be another solution.
you lower that sill, then you offset, so it's still a smaller, you know, that could be a way to, you know, kind of like this. This goes down a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And then keep that here.
I mean, we don't know what's inside and why that window's at that height, so it's hard for us to say, let's just lower the sill.
Do you know what's behind those windows? The development? Or was it done aesthetically just for the outside appearance?
Maybe it'd be
You're
better.
asking?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't hear what window you're actually talking about.
So these windows on this south elevation, the two that are not as tall that flank the three,
Oh, yes.
is that height, were the height of those windows just decided for the aesthetics of it, or is there anything behind it that would require the windows to be that high?
That's not required right now.
Right now, the window sizes are based on the building beside it. So it's a different window style, but we're trying to mimic the size of them. Like the height of them, where the break is, and that
But the
stuff.
proportions are not the same, I guess is what I'm saying. And the ones on the existing building have a much better proportion of the upper window and the lower window.
Obviously, you're looking at that, and here you can't see it on this.
So would it be a possibility just to lower those two flanking windows just a little bit more so the bottom glass or glazing is a little taller than the top? Just so you don't end up with almost like a symmetrically divided?
Yes, there's currently not a tenant for that space, so it's kind of a guess of what we were.
Because that would still
thinking.
give you the aesthetic you're looking for and then kind of clean up that little situation there.
Right.
But that would be my proposal as a way to resolve that issue.
what was next door, right?
But the window heights, we tried to kind of mimic what was next door.
I think with this much expanse, you know, I think it could work to lower them just a little bit. But that's
Yeah, I
just,
don't think that's a big.
Is that necessity though? Or is that- I think it looks good the way it is. I think it looks good the way it is. I mean, I don't see, as long as they're even and they're matching the basic style and they're all even on the top and the bottom. I mean, you're talking about this little section here.
Well, I would support lowering the sill of the short windows, but, I mean, just to break it in half like that and have a small window. Again, the proportions of the windows on the existing building are much better in terms of the ratio of the small pane to the larger pane.
There's another solution. It might look better just to take those small windows off and copy what you've got below. It's just 3 and 3, then would be 3 above. Is that's a little bit tricky to subdivide. And I know you're trying to match the proportions of the building next door, but that doesn't occur in the building next door. So that might be a solution.
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to complement the building next door. We
Sure,
don't want to be exact.
sure.
We'll take off the eyebrow, the short windows. That's another solution if you want to carry
And
that.
just have the 3/3?
3/3.
Yeah, I'm really opposed to it.
I think the way it is now would look better. Just
Yeah, I agree with Pete.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I mean, that's the simplest.
Yeah, I mean, just, you have two boxes on top of each other, it doesn't look as good as you have here.
I think too
It's
small
kind of hard
windows
to,
breaks
you
it
can't
up a
see
little better.
it broken up on this rendering here.
My
It's just
my
like-
personal take would be to lower the sills on the two side windows. I think that would resolve a lot of issues, keep the aesthetic very similar. Wouldn't be that much more money, just a little more glazing. But that's where I stand.
I guess in that particular window, I don't see what you're trying to mimic in the existing building, if that's what you're trying to do.
I think there's some windows on the back side that aren't shown on that rendering you see beside it. We actually did, the building was sided also.
Okay.
Anybody be opposed to lowering the sills just a little bit?
I would.
I would just say remove them.
I would accept either removing or lowering the sill.
When you say lower the sill to all the way to match,
Oh, no, still stepped up, but just so that mullion that's cutting those two side windows.
The 2/3, 1/3 ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either lowering the sill or cutting them all together?
Well, kind of on here, if you look at the building side, you have 3 windows over 5 windows, and you have a box and box the same exact size, one on top of the other, it does not look right. You can see it right here, that, I guess you're trying to do a little break of not different than that, but if you have one box, that's exactly the same as that, that's just not gonna look good.
we're talking about just either lower the sill down here.
I would approve either lowering or just removing. And they can be approved, and then when they submit just the corrected mullions, then that's noted, and
I would support lowering or removing, either one.
I can go with that.
I would support lowering, reaching a compromise since this is presented, not to remove the whole idea that was presented to us. So
I'd support lowering but not removing. I think having them be the exact same size is not right.
So I'll go with lowering. You're okay with lowering? You're okay with lowering? You're okay with lowering? So that gives us,
2-to-1 ratio.
okay, 2-to-1.
That's fine.
Okay. So, the landscaping stipulations that we provided, the stipulation that the rendering of the window setup is provided to us, and then the stipulation that we lower those two flanking windows just enough to get a 2-to-1 ratio and still keep that stepped look. Anybody willing to make that motion?
And a stipulation that they have to submit an accurate representation
Correct.
of the facades of the building in the window mullions.
And that would be submitted and then emailed out to us, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So moved. So moved. A second?
second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that moves us to our second item of the evening. Applicant Robert Knight, Harris Teeter, is requesting approval of signage, lighting, and landscape plans for 501 Old Greenville Highway. So we will first hear from Jacob.
Okay, so they were in front of you in the past. Now, there is one thing to note on the plan, is although the building design is basically the same, the orientation and size of the canopy has changed, as well as the location of the dumpster. So just wanted to point that out as we're moving forward. But other than that, the applicant is welcome to present their landscaping, lighting.
So this plan C300 represents the accurate location of the dumpster?
Correct. That's my
But
understanding.
that's not what we approved.
It's not, yeah.
It was, the whole gas station was oriented 90 degrees.
Are you able to talk through why that happened?
Yes, I could, yeah, I guess we can talk about that.
Great.
Yes.
I'm Justin Besser, I'm with Kimley Farms, so I'm here to present to this today. If you look at the landscape plan, it probably shows exactly the whole site plan of what you're seeing today. We did have the kiosk and originally the fuel center canopy facing Old Greenville Highway. Due to there is a large sewer line that is about 10 feet underground with an easement going through the middle of the site. With that, it was actually going through the middle of the canopy and the underground storage tanks. So with that being said, we could not put those there, so we had to orientate. We're still a 5 MPD site here. The canopy will face more of the frontage of the grocery store here. The tanks were moved a little bit into the frontage of the site here, so kind of taking up that parking area, but still maneuverable for the trucks to circulate through the site here. And the dumpster was kind of moved closer to the road, but also provided screening around there where it is kind of screened from the road, so you will not be able to see the dumpster from that location.
And so this is a separate tenant, the gas station and the grocery store?
Technically, yes, Harris Teeter owns the entire parcel, but they will be grocery and Harris Teeter Fuel Center is all in one. So this is essentially the same package there.
The reason we require a dumpster for the gas station separate from the grocery store is? Jacob?
We don't require it, they're asking for it.
The reason we are asking for it is typically the trash that comes from the gas stations, a single participant there that is serving the gas and all that, they would have to be required to walk all the way around to the back of the grocery store to get rid of that dumpster and trash from there, so that is why typically we request to have a dumpster close to the site there. Otherwise, that participant is going to have to take the trash a very long distance across a large parking lot with a lot of cars.
I would definitely consider moving it though. Putting it up at the front corner just seems,
Or using an underground dumpster?
You know, alternative.
I would, as we talk through this, I would definitely consider some alternative to the, I'm not necessarily opposed to the reorientation of the, would you actually get less illuminated
Yeah,
surface?
it'll actually, in some ways, the orientation is gonna be a lot less intrusive. when you go by,
Right, you know, but I do think that garbage enclosure, we need to consider.
We don't have a street here, do we?
Yeah, I would approve, I mean, there's no way to move it back to, what would be the intermediate drive between the main parking lot and that, in that area back there, or an underground dumpster.
We can definitely look at alternate locations in the rear of the site.
No, just,
Next to the fuel tanks, there's a grass island there. As long as it would not block views for circulation, that's actually large enough that it should be able to take that area. Yeah.
Typically, with a dumpster pad, we don't put them close to the tanks because of the impact of whenever the dumpster picks up the trash, it does impact the tank pad with the underground storage tanks. And then we've had a lot of maintenance issues in the past.
Really?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I totally missed this on the.
We're trying to keep them, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What about doing like a Solterra underground dumpster?
We can look at alternatives of that. I also, like you said, putting in the rear of the site where it's kind of near that rear drive aisle.
Well, you already have dumpsters back there.
Rear of the, I guess, grocery drive aisle, because that was the original location, kind of along Newton Street.
Okay.
and would we have to approve such a drastic change?
I mean, I think so.
Because this is not what we approved.
Yeah, I believe that would constitute another change. I think you can do it as part of this approval because,
Okay.
you know, the dumpster can be part of the landscaping, but
Okay.
you guys are gonna have to make a ruling on it at this point.
Okay. Do you care to walk us through anything tied to landscaping or the signage?
Yes, landscaping, we had all the comments from Nathan previously, so we updated a lot of the screening around the vent stack tanks there, so there are shrubs that do screen those from Old Greenville Highway there. The landscaping along Newton does now match along Old Greenville Highway, and a lot of the parking lots, vibranium and the variety was replaced as previous commented, with here, and then
We don't have the landscape plan.
It's down there.
We have one copy over
There's a
there.
big copy down here, I'll pass.
Also, a large printout here.
You guys should have copies of the landscape plan. You don't?
Said I would hand it out if you wanted it, because it was so large, I didn't want it to walk into it and get it in the way.
Why do I have?
Because I printed a smaller copy for the folder. So it would fit.
What are those tanks in the middle there?
Those are the underground storage tanks for fuel. For the fuel, yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, got it.
Correct, and then that's the vent stack tank that we usually talk about originally, they requested to be screened on the Greenville highways, and we provided those strips there.
So there's no convenience store here, right? It's just pumps?
There's a 240 square foot kiosk where people can walk up, purchase gas and snacks.
Okay,
So you cannot walk into the building, but you can walk up and purchase in that little
okay.
gray box there.
Will there be drink refrigerators outside the building?
Correct. Correct.
So,
So those are all back there.
could you all switch the ice machine to the other side of the building?
So it's not facing Old Greenville Highway, as the highway of the ice machine, switch to the other side?
Correct.
Yes, we can make that alteration.
It should be able to fit between the doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there are two doors on that side of the kiosk on that side, but we'll double check that we can flip it to that side, correct?
Y'all see that?
Yeah, I would agree.
It will be difficult to see from Old Greenville Highway as well with where we currently have the dumpster, but there is all the landscaping along there as well too, so.
Yeah.
There are existing.
And anything about the signage you'd like to show, Wayne?
Yes, do you want to go to signage next or like? Whatever, doesn't matter. So, next signage as you requested, which you should see on the large picture here. So majority of the fuel center signage is kind of in this area here. Previously, as we discussed last meeting, there is 2 monument signs which we are proposing. There is one existing along Oak Greenville here. The second one signage we're proposing at the corner of Newton and Timmy Streets. The existing signage is actually located in a Dominion easement, so we are going to push it further back off of the street there, which you'll see on one of the cut sheets that will show that monument sign, which is a little bit bigger, that will have the grocery signage, the fuel signage, and it'll also have some of the tenant signage. And then H2 is a little bit of a smaller signage, which will just be for the grocery store and for the fuel center.
And everything in terms of signage is meeting?
Yep, all meet standards.
If you have any other questions about signage along the grocery store or the fuel center, please let me know.
Could you quickly talk me through the pharmacy sign that is on the residential side of the development? So is that whole thing is lit, correct?
Yes, it is. It is illuminated. Yes.
And then it will light up red when it's closed and green when it's, okay.
Correct, sir.
How much light is that gonna throw into that? There's some residential housing right there? across
There
the
is.
street.
So on the lighting plan, we can talk about the foot candles of that. If
It's on the last page as well,
Yes.
because y'all can't.
That's what I was thinking.
So we move to the lighting plan, which shows here, there is existing lighting out there today. There's about 8 poles that will, 8 pole bases that we will keep out there. We will repaint them and fix the concrete that's on them. But all fixtures, light poles, and the lighting of the fixtures will be all replaced, brand new. There'll be 25-foot poles, but all the bases will be painted black. And then with the fuel center, we have relocated some of the poles around that area, especially with the landscape islands and the new island and pedestrian area here. But all along Sumi Street back here, there is no foot, you will not see any foot candles past the property line there, going into the residential area.
Okay.
It is all directed towards the parking lot.
And then what about the pharmacy sign itself? Is that
The pharmacy sign itself, it will not go past there either. You won't be able to see it because there is a lot of landscaping along
Okay.
that frontage as well too that is screening it.
Okay, great, thank you.
The fuel canopy is lit very well too as well. I think the average there is about 60-foot candles just for pedestrian safety, which Harris Teeter takes a lot of pride in making sure that participants there very well feel safe going and getting gas depending on when they go during the day or the night.
And the red canopy, what's that about?
The red canopy,
Brand.
it is Harris Teeter's new color. It's more of black. It is I don't want to say it's red, it is more of a maroonish color here. But that is something that we didn't talk about last meeting, and that is more of their new color scheme that they're going towards.
You know we don't allow maroon in Clemson, right?
If I get painted orange, I would love to paint it orange for you guys.
Will you quickly talk me through the lighting on the actual canopy piece, not the underneath, but like, I assume the Harris Teeter is gonna be lit, right?
Correct.
What about the maroon color? Is that gonna be backlit?
So there are two actual signs that are on the monument, on the fuel canopy. There is one in the frontage that will face actual grocery store. And there's one on the back side that will more face what you're seeing here along Newton Streets. Both of those signs are around 2 feet by 12 feet long, and they are illuminated. And it is kind of a reddish color there.
But that whole red stripe is not lit?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. Only the signage that is around 2 feet by 12 feet long there. 2 feet tall, 12 feet long.
Well, I mean, I guess, has the canopy color been approved already? Is that what's going on here? I was not.
Yes.
That was, the signage specifically was not.
The
but
signage wasn't, but the canopy
the
cover
canopy
was.
was.
Because I don't see that maroon on any other part of this building.
Now, when we did approve it, we weren't looking at the other structure.
The grocery store aspect does not have any of the
Right.
maroon reddish, but it is part of their Harris Teeter logo, which you were seeing in the lettering there. So that lettering will match.
I don't mind the maroon letters.
Yes.
What I do mind is the
red.
massive red tape. It doesn't seem to go with anything relatively color, brick color, or anything else. I think what we want to encourage that black with the maroon letters.
Well, it is their logo, their design, and their colors. I mean, you can't really make them change the
It's
logo.
not their logo, their logo's on the sign.
Yeah.
Their logo's on the building. The fascia's not their logo.
I mean, it's the color scheme they're using.
Yeah, but I'm
As
saying,
an
so
identity.
they can have the purple, the maroon letters, like they do on the sign. The sign has a black cat on it.
So we would only be allowed to discuss that because we have to reopen the approval of
Correct.
gas station.
The gas station's been moved, so you guys, it does
So
open it back up.
it can be part of the conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about your presentation before we see if there's any public comment and then start talking?
The only other thing with the monument signs is the same brick that will match what you're seeing on the grocery stores and the kiosks, which you guys previously approved. I do have a brick sample. This is exactly what you guys saw last time, but it's the same brick, so. Same architectural,
Probably the other side.
sorry. Yep, same brick.
Yeah.
So if you guys would like to see that, let me know. Otherwise, that's all.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Is there any public comment on this? Okay, so let's have at it. Let's talk about, so far we've talked about, we're gonna have to reapprove since the gas station has been reoriented. We need to talk about the dumpster. We'll talk about the canopy. And then we haven't said anything specifically yet about the signage or the landscaping, but that's for discussion as well. So we can make, if we approve, we can lump it all together, correct?
Yep.
Okay. How are you feeling about the landscaping, Nathan? You feel like?
I mean, overall, the plant looks fine. I was looking at some of the on-center spacing, the sizes they were specifying, things like that. I don't really have any issues there. If we're going to keep the dumpster where it is, then those plants would probably need to be a little bit bigger. It's hard to know. I don't think we have a detail of the dumpster in this set, and I didn't see it. That may have been on the previous submittal.
It was on the previous one. We just provided elevations of what the dumpster was.
Okay.
Well, in that location, can we put the dumpster underground? I mean, is that part of the sewer problem they had with moving the?
No, because there's the sewer.
The sewer lines
Right there. So
there's nothing
yes,
underground there?
Yeah, so it could go
that could
underground
go
there.
underground,
That's not a
yeah.
big deal. I don't even mind it because those plants would be a backdrop technically for the sign.
Yeah.
They would just need to be a little bit more substantial.
A little taller.
Is that up there?
Yes, that is it, that's correct.
You guys on the side, the screens aren't working tonight, but that is the dumpster enclosure.
Correct.
So, I mean, because what's going in is specified as 48 inches tall at planting 5 feet on center, which means we're going to be at least 1.5 foot gap between each plant as far as leaves. So I would probably want to see something more substantial there if we were going to keep it above ground in that location.
I would recommend putting it underground.
Could you quickly remind me, you might have said this already, but to the east of the dumpster enclosure, with the plants that are screening that next part, are those vacuums or something? What are
I think the vent stacks.
the vent
Yeah,
stacks?
stacks that are right next to the tanks.
Okay.
No, those
No,
are next
it's-
to
Is this like air and, air pumps, is that what those are?
There is an air station over in that area as well, too. Yes, with regards to,
Next to the dumpster.
yes, put air.
That's an air station.
Correct.
Okay.
So like, to me, if instead of having grass in between those, if that all got blocked out and hedged as one, is it really gonna be like, I don't think it's gonna be an eyesore. I'm fine with the dumpster going underground there. I think if it's screened properly, you're never gonna know it's there, it's just gonna feel like green.
Yeah, I think you're saying connect the plantings around the dumpster and the air station?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's fine, and I would still put the dumpster underground in that location. I mean, it's the prime corner.
because if the dumpster's underground, it still has to be screened.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have to be as tall, is that my I've just never seen one of those underground.
And I think that would look nicer to have it underground, have the screening, and then bleed the screening into the air station.
Now, is the air station just gonna be screened with just bushes? There's no, fencing or anything?
Doesn't look like
I think,
it.
yeah, bushes is typically what we normally have screening around those.
It's on a concrete slab, it looks like.
Yeah. It's very small, it's a 4x4.
Yeah.
Typically you see it at every Tater gas station.
Is there any reason you would see a buried dumpster or an underground dumpster is not viable in this location?
The only reason we wouldn't is if the price of it was too expensive.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't, out of all the gas stations we've done previously, we've never gone underground. Typically, we can add additional screening as you guys are requesting here, but, and beef these up as to make them architecturally pleasing for people that are looking at them, but we've never gone underground, unfortunately.
Because I was also wondering over there about the tanks, I heard what you said about proximity and vibration and all that, and that makes sense. I wonder if you justified the tanks either planned north or south to one end and then put the dumpster there on the opposite end, if that gave enough separation that would allow it to get away from its current location. Do you happen to know what kind of offset it needs from the tanks? Or is it just good?
Honestly, we've never put them very close to each other. On most majority sites, they're about 20 feet away from each other just because of the vibrations, the fuel piping, to make sure there's not future maintenance issues further down the road.
Gotcha. it might be worth studying if the underground, if underground is cost prohibitive, because I too would agree, just moving it away from its current location would be ideal. Even if it is screened, it's gonna stick up taller. You said those bushes are like 4 feet? Is that what they
Going
were-
in 4 feet,
Going in
but
at
they
4.
get 6 to 8 feet. So, I mean, they're gonna screen, they're fast-growing, easily maintainable.
But that's the main entrance to the property. It's the traffic light right there.
Yeah.
It's the main in and out. And it's serving, and so it's in the, potentially the most visible location you can possibly put it in on the property.
The site does sit lower where the fuel center is at there, so the grade for the old highway there is a little bit higher than where the dumpster would be.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you know, cars are parked at the traffic light. I mean, it's just, you know, stopped at the traffic light. It's just, it's not. If you're gonna put it there, I say it has to be underground. I would entertain the notion of rethinking the island where the gas tanks are, if you can put it there, and incorporate all that into one kind of, you know, landscape enclosure idea, and still keep it far enough away from the tanks. I mean, if you moved your tanks down to the 93 a little bit, maybe you can put the dumpster up there at the opposite end and still be you're 20 feet away. Maybe another option, and then maybe you bracket it because you got the enclosure around the vent stack, and maybe you bracket it with a dumpster enclosure on the other side. You've got your short tank there, and maybe the dumpster opens towards the gas pumps. You might be able to get your 20 feet. I mean, but I would say if it's gonna be there at the corner, then I think it needs to be underground.
Okay.
So, if I think about the gas tank area that I've seen like at other gas stations, and it's like that moguled area where you have all the lids to all the gas, you know, tanks. I mean, that's not the most attractive, and it's only surrounded by curbing and grass. So in my mind, if, you know, with the gas tanks there, I understand the conditions, but I say we screen that at least, you know, a little bit, because the gas truck should be pulling up on the side without the grass. Not the side with the grass, pulling the hoses over the grass would be my assumption there. So I'm thinking that some additional shrubbing could go in between the gas station and that versus just having that narrow little strip of grass there.
No, that makes sense to me.
I mean, like I said, if you maybe integrate it with an entire landscape strategy, you put the dumpster over there and you screen the whole operation. You know, the only thing I guess might be an issue is the visibility to the gas station. Is that gonna be operated is it gonna be staffed 24/7?
There's a staff there from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., but the gas station is open 24/7 to get gas, but
So, you know, the only thing is about security, blocking visibility to it from the rest of the parking lot and the retail enterprise. Is Harris Teeter gonna be open 24/7?
no, I don't believe that. Those are typical operating hours.
You're trying to move the dumpster here, is there room enough for the dump truck to get in past these?
You can even push this down.
No, I mean, they can't.
They won't,
It's not
to get
viable.
in there.
So,
I don't really see another place for the dumpster, to tell you the truth. Where's that one?
No, I mean, it works. And it's not gonna be that noticeable at the end of the day, I don't think.
I think if the vegetation blends with the adjacent air supply, I think it would.
I think that, plus we enhance it up to, sort of, I mean, around the air tanks, it could be, they could go in at 4 feet, but around the dumpster, they would need to go in around 6 to 8 feet tall. I think that would be substantial. No one would know it was there. I'd rather the doors face away from 93 than facing anywhere else. So.
Any comments on the signage, or anything tied to lighting, or? I know the canopy was brought out in terms of color. How do we feel about the canopy?
I, as a business owner, I'm always against trying to change somebody's course. Because that's part of their logo. So even though it's not the logo, it's part of their identity, it's part of their design.
It's not their identity, they're like, any other
No,
element.
but it's part of their design,
No, I think.
company
it's-
identity.
I don't think it is. I think it's completely independent. The cap, and then the cap on this side is even a room.
It's the same red as the letters, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing that I see. Even though the building itself rotated, I feel like that we approved, like, I know the canopy could technically come back up for discussion, but we approved the aesthetics of it last time. Now, things like what's visible, like whether the ice makers are visible or the dumps, I think those things are appropriate to bring back up as things to reconsider. But if this is what was sent in and approved last time, then I don't see how we can go back and say, oh, no, just a second. I don't like that.
I would agree.
That's fair.
And plus from the road, you're seeing a lot less of it anyway.
Yes.
I actually see it more of it as you're driving down the road.
So far I've got, we definitely want the ice machine moved to the other side of the gas station building. We would like to see a blending of the vegetation from whatever the dumpster is gonna look like to that air supply center. And then the height of the vegetation needs to be taller around the dumpster, but we still need to finalize or at least kind of materialize our ideas on underground, above ground. What are we good with? What are we okay with?
Or on the north side of the tanks, the underground tanks.
Well, they said due to proximity, that was not feasible.
Plus, you have to have the dump truck has to be able to get in without hitting that canopy.
Yeah, if you look at where the columns are for the canopy, a truck could still back in there.
Well, dump trucks are pretty tall, it might still hit that.
But if, I mean, I'm not someone to speak to the vibrations of dump trucks on the effects of gas tank pipes, so.
Maybe, would that be too close?
My building's been hit like 3 or 4 times by dump trucks.
Is close, and that's where we kind of steered away from it, where it causes a lot of maintenance issues for the
And even with, just enough room for a dump truck to get in there, my building has enough room for a dump truck to get in from Tigertown, and I've still been hit several times. I know the city's had to fix that railing in front at least twice.
We get fixed this last time, or what?
They fixed it, yeah, they kind of straightened it out. It still has a bend in it.
So ideally, we would like it to go underground.
Yeah.
Could we, if we go that far with it, if we approved it and they come back and it's cost prohibitive, could we revisit that situation?
You could approve everything pending the dumpster if you want.
I mean, I would like to get a visual from how it would look from the street.
Responsibility for the owner's
I mean, there
cost.
are none.
That is true.
We don't have
Our
any.
responsibility to the people of this city.
There's no picture.
It would be nice to see
A rendering.
a rendering, because you're gonna have the sign, the really sharp angle of the vegetation around the dumpster, the air supply, like that is kind of a busy.
Well,
Yeah, because that would be this one here.
But
But
I
I was
was-
rendering, looking at the sign, because the dumpster's over here.
but I was just thinking, that parking lot sits 4 feet below 93?
Yeah, so a 3D rendering would be very helpful to see the level, how low that's gonna be.
So we could
And the vegetation.
approve
It's,
except for, without pending him submitting a rendering
Renderings
of,
of the dumpster area.
From 93 into side road, as you can see from the side road.
Okay.
I mean, because if,
I'm not gonna approve it, but you guys can.
because if it does sit 3 to 4 feet down, like, then that changes.
Yeah.
You're actually
the-
looking down over the vegetation then, so,
Well,
Until it grows up.
depending on where the vegetation is, depending on where the fence height is, it could, I mean, that's why a section through there needs to happen. I mean, it's not. So I think clarification needs to happen on that corner.
yeah, could we, get a- I think we,
We can do a cross-section rendering showing, hey, where you're at the signal, looking into the sites, this is where the dumpster sits, this is where the sign is, this is the enhanced landscaping that you guys are requesting.
and then could you also show it to us with the underground dumpster?
Yeah.
So we could just
look
see
into
what
that
both,
option. Yeah.
because I think that would give us a chance to approve most of what's here
Yeah,
and then
well-
revisit the,
I mean, you have to check to see if that is an option for your client. If they say no, then we have to come back to the drawing board.
okay.
And a 3D rendering.
So, the idea that the ice machine moves to the other side of the gas station building, that we're blending the vegetation, no matter what happens with the dumpster, between the dumpster and the air supply center, that we're okay when it comes to the signage, the lighting, but we are going to have the stipulation that we need to see renderings and a 3D modeling tied to the dumpster situation, both above ground and underground.
The only other thing I had a note on was there was some discussion about the landscape island around the fuel
Yes.
tanks.
Yeah.
Are you
We'd
guys
like to
looking
see-
for ornamental grass, shrubbery, or just grass there?
I think something to break up on.
So I've marked up a plan that says, enhanced plantings on this corner, adding shrubs in here, they missed some ground cover here.
Okay.
And then we can give this back
Yeah,
to
give
them
back to
and
them.
then they can just,
Sound good?
like, bring back with those updates.
Is there anybody that would like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
A second? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay, that moves us to our third item on the agenda, 2025-AR09, applicant Mauricio Abisbal from LV Collective is requesting approval of materials, landscape, and lighting for 398 College Avenue. So,
Okay, so we're passing out, we actually did get a comment on this one, it's coming around to everyone. But I'll just start off by reading that into the record. Agenda, the people that live in the east of College Ave neighborhood, Cold Springs, would appreciate if the current fire truck lane was also open to pedestrians, and bicycles included warm lighting. I have attached a diagram. Everyone in the red circle would be able to access downtown a lot easier if they did not have to backtrack down around Riggs. Let's see. This would save a lot of steps, time, further allow for avoidance of cars and the parking garage exit and entrance. Additionally, it would be nice amenity for the residents, but also building the fire truck access. So actually, they put the little orange thing. So there is a sidewalk that goes down most that way, and it just ends kind of arbitrarily around here where the fire truck lane begins. And they're just asking for it to connect on through. But, okay, so this brings us to what we're here tonight to discuss. The general layout has been approved as far as the building, but now in front of you guys is the hardscape, landscape, and materials. So, I think the materials have been kind of flushed out pretty good, and I know that's the one that they are most necessary to get going quickly, as basically. So if you guys, moving forward, if you guys want to break up this and vote on materials and then keep the landscaping and hardscape and everything to make sure, because I think that getting the landscaping right on this one is incredibly important, now that we kind of have the thing. So I would say definitely make sure you take your time and feel very comfortable with where we're going on this one. Obviously, if you don't feel comfortable with materials, again.
Do you have anything other than?
Yes. Oh, do you mind passing these out?
Oh, sorry. Let's move in a couple of batches.
Good. Let's stack go.
This is which one?
This is the 398.
Thank you.
Have a week to review
Yeah, I did not see this online.
this. Is not on our digital documents, is it?
No. It's a little different than the original.
Oh, it's for the other one?
This is for the other.
Okay. Again, this is, landscaping plan came in very late, well, changes to it and everything, so.
Is this different than
This
the?
is the north building, there's two buildings.
So I would feel, I mean, I'm just gonna speak. I mean, I would feel comfortable looking at materials,
Yeah, I'd say we do
but I
materials.
think with this, we need time to,
Yeah,
I kind of agree.
I kind of think we need to take this home and meet next week and just, maybe next month. Not take this at the last minute.
Yeah. I can't.
yeah, are we comfortable with that idea?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
That, focus on the materials and then landscape and hardscape, and then we need to be able to look through all this.
Sure, sure.
And this is not something we can rush on, make hasty choices.
No, well, let's see. Why don't you give your presentation for the materials only? We're not gonna go for landscaping today.
Okay, do we not want to give a brief presentation on the landscape side, just cover materials?
If you want, I mean, you guys wanna do a landscaping presentation as well?
Yeah, he can
Okay,
present
for
it.
presentation, that sounds good.
I can start with architecture.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Good evening, thank you for having us. I'm Ahmed Wilson, architect with Niles Bolton. We've got Brittany Sanders with LD Collective joining us, and Chris Lazarick, we're with Ironwood Design Group. We had a joint meeting with Planning Commission a couple of months ago and kind of give you an overview of the project and where the design stood at that time. Received some great feedback and went back to the drawing board, made some adjustments, made some tweaks, took some advice, especially as it relates to the back facade, and made some improvements. So we're excited to run through that with you today.
I will hold up a couple of the images here and then maybe pass some materials around. That first page here you're seeing is kind of the College Avenue facade. Both buildings, we've got the 398 College Avenue and the 400 College Avenue. And so this kind of shows the overall composition of the project, both buildings together. This is a view looking down Strode, and it shows the landscape and stream buffer that we have between the buildings. On 398 to start with, you see the composition here from an architectural standpoint is fairly simple. The building or the massing is kind of broken into these two masses separated with an inset dark reveal to break up the scale. The base runs continuous below the elevated massing, mostly masonry construction. We've got two colors of gray brick here. It's got two different textures to it. One has a little bit of a texture, one is smooth. We have a lot of detailing around openings and where we have soldier courses. So we're alternating some of these finishes to get some architectural interest and kind of additional articulation around the openings. The field condition, you see where we have the red brick, that's that sample that we have here. And then further up on the building where you've got this white fiber cement panel, board and batten, and we have three colors of fiber cement that alternate. The inset, the dark reveal, that's a fiber cement panel, and we also have a mid-tone that we'll see at the back of the project. Next pages, we start to zoom in a little bit on the this is again kind of a zoom in at the Strode, looking down Strode with the two buildings opposing each other. And then next slide, we start to zoom in and get a little bit of the detail and the materiality. So this is, you can see down here on that corner is where we have our front door for residential, the lobby, the leasing, and some of the amenities. Masonry again, kind of at the base of the building. You can see the gray masonry, and then we've got some infill metal panels in there that kind of accent the architecture at the base. And I can pass some of these around. So that's the metal.
What is it with the postage stamp?
Oh, I know. It's new.
And then we have this unique element that kind of extends and engages the stream and the landscape buffer. And the materiality there is also fiber cement, but we do have this accent material here. And we have it up high in the building as well as down low in a couple of areas. And what we're proposing here is up high where it's not in direct contact with the residents. We've got this stone cast wood. It's a cementitious type finish. And then further down where we have it right adjacent to the amenities, we're actually going with this royal oak knotwood. It's a metal panel, so this is going to be a lot more durable. And so we've kind of matched the colors, and we've got this up high where we can't get access to it, and then down low we have the metal.
Yeah, so it's not yellow.
No, it's not the yellow.
That's what's kind of like, that's the material that's shown almost like an orange here, but it's a much warmer wood, as you'll see in the samples. And then on the next couple of slides, this one here shows kind of a perspective view looking at the architecture and the transition of materials from what we're doing along College Avenue with the masonry as it wraps the corner and it kind of engages the stream. And then we were transitioned to this accent material here that includes that warm material with the wood accents that you're passing around. Down at the lower level here, you see a lot of transparency and glazing. This is part of the amenity package, and it extends out with an outdoor patio there that kind of connects to the stream, engages with the stream. I'll go quickly through the next couple of slides. These are just zoom-ins on the College Avenue facades. We've got commercial use, it's active use along the frontage, so at the middle of the building, we've got these commercial suites here, a lot of glazing, outdoor opportunities for outdoor seating, and then we've got entry to the parking deck, and then on the next page, you see that at the very end is where we centralize a lot of our services, and access to trash, and fire room, and generator room and all of that. So we have all that kind of hidden along the northern edge of the development. all the doors are oriented to the side, so it's not facing directly towards college.
Sorry if I missed it, the planters along College Avenue and wrapping down into kind of the stream area, is that like a board form concrete?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got that in the hardscape, landscape presentation, we've got material for it.
Okay, cool.
Moving to the back of the building, the next few slides are the views from Riggs and Strode. On those here, when we met a couple months back, the building was fairly monolithic. I think we heard that it looked institutional, that we needed to bring the war materials back around the back side of the building and tie it better to what was doing along College Avenue. And so we've done that. We've increased the percentage of masonry there at the base. We've stepped it up to break up the facade and the massic. We still introduced some of these inset darker reveals to break up the scale, and introduced the board and battens here as well. We talked about trying to bring this residential kind of scale type finishes, and so we brought that to the back, and so it really did break the scale of the building here and started to complement a little better the lower scale of housing that we have across the street.
Can I ask you a quick question
Yeah.
about the kind of intermediate tan color? It doesn't, what is, in terms of like relief, like is it, because it doesn't, like the board and batten, like I can see the breaks.
Right.
What does the application look like in that section of the building?
The back of the back of the building.
This right here?
Oh, this is fiber cement panel. So, and the colors got a little bit warmer on some of the renderings. I'll pass these around. These are the three colors that we're using for the fiber cement. So you've got the dark for the accents, and then the one you were asking about is kind of that mid-tone gray. So it looks a little brownish on the print, but it's actually a little bit of that neutral gray. And then the lighter color is this color, so I'll pass these around. So the lighter color that you're seeing here, that's always kind of the board and batten, so it's got like the more tightly battens there to kind of break up the scale. On the mid-tone, it's fiber cement panels, so it comes in panels and it's going to have reveals.
Okay.
And some of the reveals may have kind of disappeared in the renderings, but on the 2D elevations, you'll see where they have these reveals. So it's kind of slightly larger
No, it's all
panel.
fiber cement, it's not.
That's correct, yeah.
So that gray is what looks beige right here.
That's right, that's this color right here. Yeah, and then the lightest color is this one, and then the inset, where we have the reveals, it's the darker gray.
And the bottom would be that correct.
The bottom will be the brick. Anywhere we touch the ground, we're transitioning to masonry for durability. And where we have some of these gray insets at the very base before we get to grade, we're going to transition to one of the darker masonry colors. So anywhere you touch the ground, it's going to be masonry construction.
So the two tones on the gray brick are the difference between the smooth and the rough?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a subtle difference, but we have a lot of soldier courses and a lot of banding and kind of insets and corbelling that we're doing with the masonry along the street edge, and so having slightly different texture when it's all put together, it gives you this kind of added layer of interest along the edge of the street.
Can I see that?
Yes.
I'm seeing 3 bricks.
That's the more texture, and this is the so when we mix them up in banding and soldier courses where we have pilasters, it starts to really kind of give an extra layer of detail.
So, yeah. So like on here,
yes,
there's 3 colors of gray.
So the darkest of the colors, that's kind of where we have metal accents along the facade. So like there are three.
Is that so? This right here is the metal accent?
That's correct, and it's a zone where we can potentially have louvers if there's any need for commercial ventilation when these tenants start to. So it's kind of a band that allows us to have that zone for louvers or metal panel.
Okay, so it just looks like a stacked bond brick in this rendering for some reason, is that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Above
this,
the retail.
I'm sorry, I was talking about this retail one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's metal.
I'm sorry, yeah, so the canopies, the retail, the backdrop to the signage, that's all metal.
Sure.
And then all of that is gonna be masonry, so textured masonry at the top, and then even that, all that surround frame that we have here, that's also masonry. So it's all masonry construction, we're just kind of adding articulation and detailing using those two different textures. But it's the same color, here it looks like it's a slightly different shade. But
Yeah, I
it's,
was seeing 3 different brick colors and you were showing 2.
That's right,
the
it's
question.
only 2, yeah, it's only those 2, and I'll show these samples.
Different treatments.
It is, yeah, it's running bond versus stack bond versus some solid goods.
Just so y'all know, we were asking above, like where it says retail, where it shows 3 different, that's what we were asking about.
Oh, yes. So what we're looking at is correct.
That's
That's
right.
stacked, and then
That's-
here it's stacked long
Correct.
ways. Yeah.
And that's the smoother. So where we have these accents on the stack, that's the smoother color, and then where we have the field condition, that's the different light.
Well,
And then
because
the-
this is not 2 different
David
bricks.
has a question, I'll just come and ask him. This was the wood that you already, it's down there.
That's still cast, that is correct.
Okay.
And you'll see, like, on the next rendering, after that one, at the base, you'll see that we have, or actually, I'm sorry, it might be the one before that. Yeah, you see some of these orange down there?
Yeah.
That would be that metal wood color that we've got.
Yeah, those are pretty close together. These are,
That's right.
yeah, these are showing more contrast here, right?
The orange, or?
Well, if we look at the 2 wood colors, I guess, do we have the orange sample? What is it?
Yeah, that's the.
Brown,
It's much more like.
It's not
Yeah,
really.
It's a lot more muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the color right there for the elevated.
Okay, so what's the color for the next, so it's those 2?
So yeah, this one is that orange color that we're seeing here. And this one, the metal, because it's a lot more durable, will be used further down where we have
Okay.
that
And the
wood.
putty color is which?
Is the middle color.
here?
That's correct.
So these two are going together.
That's
Okay,
Oh, okay, so this is the,
so that's
okay,
this.
okay,
All
good.
right,
Let me
all right.
go.
So here's my thought, is actually, I would love to see a wood color that's closer, lighter, closer to that rendering. This doesn't,
Right,
I'm not seeing how this dark wood goes with this gray background.
Right.
Well, if we,
And,
There's something nice about the contrast of the lighter.
I wonder if it goes with this color.
and I'm
better.
thinking this could be a little bit more of a putty or something like that, or a little bit darker too. This looks, in the rendering, it looks very white.
Right.
That's better than the rendering.
Right.
But I'm just debating whether this wants to be this deep walnutty color wood, you know, and whether it should be.
Would you mind showing us the red brick up against that
but
one
it's not
too?
orange.
I know it's not right next to each other, but it's gonna read kind of,
Oh, here, yeah.
you know, it's just,
See, I mean,
it
there's a lot of material, I mean, you've done a good job of breaking the mass of the building up.
Yeah, it's very
Don't get me
nice.
wrong. And actually, in some ways, the renderings look better than some of the material samples, is what I'm getting at, and, with the exception of the white. And I just think that you've got a lot of material colors that are very deep, and then you've got this one very light color, and I'm wondering whether this needs to be a wood that has, it's more like a beech or something like that. you
More
know?
punch to it, yeah.
and then darken up that lighter color just a little bit.
And darken up the lighter color. You see
Yeah.
what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do.
Because it's kind of a nice contrast with the redder brick.
I just don't see those two going well together.
Right, right. Yeah.
Well, just giving those wood panels the squint test, they are very different. Even though they're as close as they can be. No, that one.
That one is.
Cementitious.
Yeah, they're very close, yeah.
Well, no, like if you squint at them, like one's
tell.
dark, one's light. Like,
So on the rendering, the zoomed in one that shows the amenities down by the stream, we've shown kind of a couple of options. One had these two wood colors, and one went back and used kind of that darker metal color instead. Do you,
I don't even know why you need the wood there, that could be metal.
that
So
can
that's
go to
what
this
that next,
metal right
flip it
here.
over.
This is,
So this one right here,
That's right, this rendering represents that.
and it looks like it's floating a little more.
And the other wood is down below.
That's right. If
this
we
is,
go with
this
that
is
option-
this?
Yeah.
That one.
No,
That one is
up here.
Oh, that's up high.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is that's the metal.
And then we have two options of what we do down low. One is the wood, one is
I
that
see.
dark metal.
I'm still not convinced that those two go.
You want something that's got a little bit more pigment to it, a little bit in contrast. Because everything else is muted, and so we want something to stand out.
I didn't see that. Looking at this.
I really like the orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we want orange, we definitely want a wood, I mean, I think that would be great.
But something a little warmer.
Yeah, lighter, warmer. Because this is its own element, you know?
Right, right.
This is not real. But not that yellow.
No, that's acrylic type finish that goes on rigid insulation.
Have you used this out in the full sun before on another project?
I believe we did, actually. One of LV's project, we've used that color.
Does it show up bright white, or does it look muted?
Project
We used that one on Rambler Athens. The
Yeah,
lighter.
I actually was just there in Rambler.
Right.
It's like a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think I don't think it's bright white.
We could probably take some photos of.
Yeah, I could do
Share
that.
some
I'd like to
photos.
see that.
Okay.
Some images.
What's the name of the project?
I just think that's,
I believe it's.
Athens, Rambler Athens.
everything else is very deep and rich, and that's just very light. And
Right.
it just seems like, because it's up high, it needs to be more muted.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you put the light color on larger walls, it actually ends up being a little bit more, it ends up being a little brighter.
Yeah.
So, and we've got some good photos that we can send to confirm,
This is their project there.
pretty sure that's the one, but we can double check that and
But even
confirm.
that looks pretty high contrast, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just think-
it gets darker when it's up
Whereas
right
everything
over.
else is really a much more muted in terms of intensity.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Okay?
So I think maybe for this accent element that engages with the stream, maybe there is taking another look at not only the wood, but maybe the surround also, because I agree with you on this one, like it's depicted a lot lighter in the rendering. And especially that we have this dark separation, we want this to contrast. And I think the color difference between the light and the gray is actually making it pop.
Yeah.
So we probably want to lighten that some, and then look at options for the woods that have a little bit more pigment to it, a little bit contrasting. And then darken, just look for precedents and
More
darken
Scandinavian than English oak.
right, okay. Got
You
it.
see what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess, I
Yep,
mean, if we're gonna pick one of the two as
perfect.
they are.
And then, Chris, do you want to give just,
Can I just summarize that where the concerns expressed are truly color palette, not necessarily material
Yeah, as long as
related?
you've gotten away from the ephes and you've got the cementitious panel that has the
Can I see the little middle
articulated as
samples? Sorry.
opposed to one big massive.
And I would like to see the red brick.
Because the renderings in some of the facades and the renderings, it really looks monolithic. Not panelized.
Not annoying.
Could you answer one quick question? I like the articulation of the red brick on the front. It almost looks kind of like Chicago. When the red brick is on the backside, it's reading more flat. Is it going to carry some of that depth?
as it's shown right now, it's less detailed at the back. We're using the same brick, same material, but less of the banding and the insets. We've got some subtle insets. I think what you're seeing there with projection to create these vertical pilasters every few windows, and then some of the horizontal banding. And we have, to be completely honest, we have less of that at the back. We could.
But you're further away from the street back there.
Much further from the street on the back side. That's right.
we maybe consider just a look, as it transitions into the cementitious material?
Have a roll-off or a soldier course up at the
Something-
top with a little projection, absolutely, yeah.
Is it just a little more
Yeah,
substance?
because we would need probably something anyways that's got a little bit of an angle to keep the water, shed the water away, where we have the brick projecting further in front of the fiber cement. So definitely we can add some articulation there at the top.
See this?
Yeah, I'd be a proponent of that as well, just the kind of continuation, less kind of A and B side of it. That's a similar comment I shared. And I do appreciate the brick wrapping around, because that was not part of the original plan, and that they see that you heard us, and I appreciate that. But just some of the articulation and the detailing of the brick in the front, it would be nice to see that gestured around the back as well.
The higher level of detail with the.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's a nice element, you know, it wraps into the neighborhood, you know, I had my concerns with the respect of the neighborhood on this project and others as well. So I think that's a way to architecturally, positively gesture to the neighborhood on
Yeah,
what
instead
is
of-
the backside.
Yeah,
I
instead of
agree.
saying, this is our backyard, it's just
Right.
another front.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
We can bring some of the banding that's with brick, projecting something, quarter of an inch to half an inch, it definitely gives a shadow line, and so we can work on detailing that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice.
Yeah.
Are we thinking the same detail as the front as in the back, or
It could be a
less
shit.
detail to the back?
Well, I'll leave that up to the architects, but just, you can, I mean, we're looking at the front, the College Avenue side versus the Riggs side, you can definitely see kind of an A level versus a B level, and it's just nice to be able to see
Bring some of
that.
that. And I think with the scale difference between the front and the back, just some subtle lines in the brick there will add that detail. Just because there's not as much of it back there, so we don't need as much detailing. And it's also, it's not as long of a run as we have on College, so we can certainly add some subtle details there to give it, improve it. It doesn't feel flat. It doesn't feel like it doesn't belong to the
Exactly,
same
yeah, just a little bit more depth.
I like the.
I didn't hear the full conversation down there, but it sounded like you were talking about the two different, the fiber cement wood and then the not wood.
Right.
To me, it looks like a little bit of, well, I think it would look like a little bit of a miss of two different materials that I do think they would read differently. My vote would be the
darker base.
dark base option.
Yeah.
Unless there was a way to more, kind of truly let this be more of a tower where the top 5 levels, that architectural language somehow drops down further into the bottom, the first 2 floors, and kind of stretches it out.
Right.
But otherwise, my vote would be the dark base option.
Yeah, okay.
Is the deck, do you have a material choice?
With the decking?
For the decking itself?
Chris, the deck at the back by the stream.
Yeah, do you want me to touch on those yet?
Yeah, sure, I think, or you have a sample on that.
Well, let's just make sure, are we ready to hear about the hardscape and landscape?
Really quickly, I just don't want to neglect the 400 lot, right? So we see
Right.
some of that wood
That's
showing
correct.
up over here, so we would want to see the similar.
And I believe that would be kind of our intent, so as you compare the two buildings, while the architecture is slightly different in terms of how we've used some of the materials, we're trying to use the same material palette so that it feels like the overall development is consistent, but it's not repetitive. And so where we land on the accent wood, on 398, we would probably use that as the header for the windows on the 400 College.
Could we quickly talk about on A301, where it steps back down to 3 stories on Knox Lane? And then you see that rear elevation on A302?
Right.
I mean, I know it's 3 stories and then you're moving up above that, but you've got that really large blank wall that's like the darker color.
Back here, yep.
Okay, I'm trying to get a sense of what that looks like from someone living in the neighborhood walking by. Is that, do we have that one?
Yeah, it's actually the very last page in this package.
Okay.
And so this would be set back close to 30, maybe right under 30 feet from where this drop is. And I think it fairly aligns with where the step back is on the Noda building next door. And so from a pedestrian scale, unless you get really far away from it, you won't see it. But one thing with this being fiber cement, this darker color here being fiber cement, we're limited to the width of the material, so it's 4 feet, so there's going to be more reveals. It's not gonna be a blank wall. It's gonna have reveals, it's gonna have coating, so it's gonna be broken down in scale a little bit compared to like if it was stucco or eaves, where it just feels like it's a very large expanse of finish without any detail.
Right. So that gritty, even though it kind of fades away in some parts of these drawings, it's really there.
The reveals everywhere. Everywhere we have fiber cement, we're gonna be limited to the 4 feet width of the panel by 8 feet in height. So there's gonna be vertical and horizontal. It gets lost a little bit in some of these renderings.
But in the lighter color, it's gonna be accentuated, right? Those reveals are gonna be even more prominent in like the lightest color, the board and batten look. Is that intentionally gonna look a little?
Yeah, the board.
Because you're gonna have shadow lines that show.
That's right. The board and batten will be like an added, it's like an added trim piece, so it's gonna have a more prominent shadow line versus the reveals in the other colors, which would be just like a regular reveal that's gonna be 3/8 of an inch to, maybe half an inch of a reveal, so that's gonna be sunken, as opposed to with the board and batten, it's an added trim piece that's very narrow.
So question, we don't have a whole lot of drawings on this yet, unless they're in here. Rendering.
We have a few renderings, in the back of this package. Once we get, like for example, this right here is the overall strode elevation. And then you kind of see the same language where we have commercial at the front. And so we've got the two types of masonry with the different textures, the gray. We've got a lot of glazing along the frontage as we wrap the corner. And then the midsection is where the residential front door is on Strode. So that's where you pick up more glazing in here. We've got small amenity space. And then we've got the drive into the very small parking area that we have at the bottom of the building, 10 spaces. And then back here is where we pick up additional density. So there's residential at the back. And then that steps kind of acts as a transition down towards the residential neighborhood. And there's actually a couple of renderings for that building in the back as well. The next page to that is actually looking from the north back at the building. So this is where the pharmacy building would be, right here. And so you can see how we're turning the masonry, we're turning the material around, using some of these wood accents that we were talking about. And then again, breaking up the overall massing by introducing these darker insets, which is kind of designed into the plan, so it's got a little bit of depth and shadow, so it kind of helps with the overall scale. And then the next slide actually shows a perspective from Knox, Strode and Knox, looking back at the building. So at the far left here, that would be College Avenue, and then we're looking down Knox on that rendering. And that shows the transition from 5 stories down to 3 stories.
So I'd like the board's opinion on the north building, because the front of it, the face is College, which I think is the west face.
Yes.
It feels like a squatty layer cake.
Yeah, it's not broken up.
Like it just, I don't know, it just feels like you took 3 architectural styles and just said, okay, let's stack them on top of each other. To me, the elegant, the character, like I know they're trying to do so they're not identical, but the character that's in the south building is, to me, is not transferred to the north building.
Can you show us in your set where you are? There are no page numbers.
It's view down Strode.
So
Yeah, and then
This
also-
this elevation would be a good example. I think what I'm hearing is it's layered, kind of almost like two-story, 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 so it's kind of,
Would it hurt to bring the brick up a third story?
I don't know, it just feels like it's like, okay, well, we had these three different styles. We have the dark brick, the red brick, and then the, cement board with the wood, and let's just stack them on top of each other. Whereas the south building, is vertically separated. They just took and horizontally separated. Like, I feel like the side views on Stroud are better than the face.
So what if you took the brick all the way up on this front portion of the building?
I think more brick would be,
we can look at that,
And
either
then
one,
stop it at that break.
Yeah, I agree. I think that,
right, just the front element.
This part of the building.
there's something about there being equal in height, right? The two-story cementitious and then
The banding, yeah, like the wedding cake kind of feel to
It
it.
feels like, okay, let's just, I don't know.
We can look at that, we can look at even raising, if we were to raise the brick one, it would actually feel more like a base and a cap, and then the field condition would be 3 stories. That's one option. That maybe will get it kind of closer to what we're doing with the massing on 398. We can look at the idea of taking it even further, or maybe taking it up to the sill of that top level window, just,
That top level really reads as like a penthouse.
that's right, yeah.
Like in France or something like that, you would see.
It'd be a prominent cap, that's right. Because right now, yes, it is probably even taller than the brick as depicted currently. So like if we were to take that to the sill of the window, that will make this a lot more elegant. Yeah, that's definitely,
I would look at that.
Yeah,
Use that or take
absolutely.
brick all the way up.
okay. So look at both of these options, yeah.
And then that relates to the building next door, which is mostly brick too.
Right.
Yeah, when you look at
yeah, and it almost is, yeah.
Good catch.
No, that's great. It kind of brings some of the proportions of the two buildings. And even though the detailing is still a little bit different at the base, and even at the red brick, we can detail it a little differently, but it's the similar palette, just slightly different articulation. Right? Well, we want to go back to the question about, if you're ready, Chris, the question about the patio and maybe some of the
Yeah, let me
landscape
just
finishes.
lead off by this.
landscaping now?
Well, we're just hearing about the hardscape
I was just gonna
and
run through
just
the hardscape
a general
materials. It's
overview.
It's pretty quick to review those materials, and then the landscape we can,
If I could jump in from ownership perspective, we're happy to come back to work out the details, but if during the presentation there are any like glaring red flags that we need to incorporate into the GMP, that's really what we're looking for tonight, then we can fine tune the details.
Yeah, I think with those comments that we've made, we're fairly okay.
Yeah.
On the building materials?
Yeah,
We'll have public input in just a minute tied to that before we finally discuss, but I think it's natural to segue into the hardscape, and then we'll go back to public input.
And just tell us which one you're starting on.
So, it's gonna be 398, the larger building.
So south?
Yes, south.
Okay, thanks.
Which set are you in?
It's called, Clemson South, 398 College.
One's called 400, one's called 398.
I thought that was the page number.
So I'm on page L1.1S. That starts at the north end of the south building. This really talks about the frontage along College, and it touches on that deck area. So what you'll see as what's existing now is the existing red brick pavers, which we've been told there's a new direction for the public sidewalk, which will be just your concrete field with the cast iron tree grates and the stamped concrete bands that were directed to us by the engineering department. I think that's the way you're transitioning for the public part of this. What you'll see is the stippled pattern, which is called out as PO4, is an etched concrete paving, which is a little bit different texture, and we'll just pass this around for what it looks like. So that will be more of the private at the back of the 10-foot public sidewalk, the area you see there. The stairs will also be in that finish. As you move to the leasing, the paver, which is represented by P07, is a large format precast concrete paver. It's in a warm tone. And then the planters that we touched on, which are called out as HO3, you'll see multi-tiered. They're kind of smaller, will be the board form concrete. And it'll actually be real board form.
Sorry, which number was this?
I think that's P07. P07.
And this first one was?
That one is P04, which is the stippling for most of the areas you see at the back of the public sidewalk. Did you get it?
So that's
That's correct,
That's
yes.
the P07 there, and that's the P01 is down here. P04 is.
I'm gonna say, well, no, keep going.
And then the planter walls are the board form concrete. I just brought that as a sample for what that finish would look like.
Would it be at that scale?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a 6-inch.
Okay.
Are they labeled?
No, that's P04.
That's PO4, which is the stippled at the bottom of the stairs.
It's the whole hatch area you'll see.
Yeah.
The border.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then that's the
This is
07.
the whole
Yeah, that's the
sidewalk
whole
and patio
field
area.
up here. This whole area is that. And the P07 is the brick, the kind of the hatching that's going at the entrance to the
This
leasing.
is just a sample.
Yeah.
I think it's actually panels. That's panels.
No, it's gonna be poured concrete, but it's
It'll
gonna,
be,
it's gonna
that's just
have,
a representative
Right,
color,
yeah.
finish, and style.
Truly.
The grain exposure, yeah. And then the wood deck that you see kind of in that area we were talking about earlier is a composite board called millboard, and that's the deck area.
would we wanna go lighter with that to match the wood? Something to think about later. I don't know. So right now, that's similar to the color.
That was the intent, was to get as close to that color on the building
The
as
lighter.
possible, so if there's
As a
another
ground surface, you
direction.
would wanna go darker.
We change the color of the wood on the building, this could get lighter potentially.
That's correct, yes.
Let's move that in.
Was that like the Weir Deck stuff? Like that's fiber?
Yeah, it's a composite, like a fiber, it's rather light, it's super durable, and,
It can take a lot of water and,
yeah, it'll take a beating.
Have y'all used this successfully?
Yes, we use it on elevated decks, we've got it on several projects.
we used it as ledger boards on our deck at our house.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've got a different product on my deck, but I'm happy with the composite.
So I got a question for you, Jacob.
Yes,
We're gonna have thousands of students downtown
yes,
walking to campus.
yes.
So I wanna address the issue of sidewalk widths
Yep.
in the right of way.
The grain on that.
That's not their issue, because the city's doing the sidewalks, is that correct?
No, they're installing them. We are telling them what to install. So 10-foot wide sidewalk.
That's why we're losing all the parking, on-street parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're utilizing tree grates, which maximize, still getting the street trees in.
Yeah, so we're getting, you know,
And
just-
still allow you the passable distance.
City stand.
And currently, what, the sidewalk's roughly,
5 feet wide.
yeah, it's,
So that
Well, actually, in this section, only 4 feet.
PO7.
But we're downtown. Most of it's fine.
If y'all look at that, the thinner yellowish sample, to me, that is, it's too yellow. Like, it has yellow undertones, which are, just doesn't, maybe it's the lighting, I don't know.
you turn it horizontal, you see.
It is a warmer tone.
Yeah, but everything else, like, when you look at the siding, you look at the brick, I don't know, everything else is, yeah. Just
They
wanted to
could
get
end up
y'all's-
working with the lighter wood, you know.
I don't
It's
know.
not bad though, when you're on a higher level and then you can see those stairs because they change color.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the
Red-
stairs are
stairs
gonna
are-
be the stairs are the,
No, they're poured concrete.
yeah, they're the poured
They're cast in
concrete.
place concrete with the,
Yeah.
They're gray.
But I do wonder whether if you see the lightest fleck in this material here, there's not a lot of it, but I wonder if this could be a little bit less yellow and more of the
a
lighter.
lighter, take the warmth out of it. There's options with that
If
particular
that is
product.
cool, that's warm, that's right, you picked that up, and so that's the challenge you got, but.
Does PO7 show up anywhere else besides the entry?
It shows up on the other building at the, leasing the building entrance.
Okay. So it's pretty minor in the grand
It
scheme.
is minor in the grand scheme.
Or it's the entrance to both buildings, so it's the most important.
Well, that's a fair point as well. Both can be true.
I will.
And then we have, obviously handrails and everything that will pick up on the black canopy color that we're using.
The boulder walls, what kind of boulders are y'all using?
Those will be a granite type boulder. We'll see what we have on site, but the idea is to have that deck appear like it's cantilevered being held up by boulders when it's really not.
See what you have on site as far as like the natural boulders on site?
To see if we have any, we always assess.
Don't use, no. Site boulders
But as
around
an
here,
option, we end up with some of them sometimes, but
Yeah.
yes, most likely they'll be purchased from a local landscape supplier.
yeah, site boulders around here are what we call like sugar rock. They just
Oh, yeah.
crumble,
No,
they're
we
just
wouldn't use that.
nasty. So, but again, I would play off the tones of the building and bring, have the gray, brown and gray, but still make sure it's not just an orange.
Sure, no, of course not. Yeah,
Like-
these are important to the overall aesthetic and the look we're trying to
Yeah.
achieve with that deck. Thinking falling water type thing, like where you got the buttressing and the undertones of the stone in the deck. And then picking up on those kind of like throughout, just sporadically in that zone.
So what's the fascia on the deck? So it looks like the joints are turned down vertically in the face?
It will have a fascia board on it. It'll still be the composite.
But it'll be running horizontal underneath. This will be sitting on top, and then there'll be a horizontal underneath.
That's right, and whether that, we haven't gotten to the detail yet, whether that comes in the deck, terminates into the vertical there, or runs over, I think it would most likely terminate, we'd hold that fascia up and have the deck boards terminate.
But that's not gonna be a bunch of vertical pieces, like
No, it'll be long boards, yeah,
represented like.
that's right. And as far as the plant palette goes for street trees, we have American elms currently. Looking at the plant palette, if there's anything that sticks out to things that the city doesn't like, let us know, and we're completely flexible.
Are we saving the tree on the corner of College and Strode?
That tree is not currently in the tree save plans. But we have since removed a path that was going there. So the civil engineer did the tree protection plans. So it is something that we've noted, and we'll look at that. I don't know with the infrastructure that we have to get in with the utilities and everything that's going on, and with the revision of that parking along Strode, if that's something that's impacting that structural replate or not.
So the spacing of the street trees is gonna give us continuous canopy over the sidewalk?
Yes, they're 40 foot on center. I think that we put them at 40 feet. I think the city engineer was saying 50 feet, but we put them a little tighter.
City engineer needs to be But I would say even 30 feet.
Well, they're not 40, based on the scale, the graphic scale here. They're less than 40.
Some of them are just to line up with the architecture, but we use 40 feet as the basis.
Yeah, that gets wiped in.
I mean, our goal should be to provide a continuous canopy for each shaded sidewalk.
Should we go to public comment?
So I think at this point, thank you very much for
Yeah,
presenting.
appreciate your
this.
time, thank you.
Can I ask one very quick question?
Yes,
if you don't mind, as a follow-up to the discussion, just so I make sure we understand that there's a variety of color options related to that Stocast wood that we were talking about. I just wanted to ask if what we were talking about is something that's a little bit more in that more vibrant range.
Right, and that's what I would say.
Okay, got it. As
Yeah,
opposed to
grays
the more
don't show up.
muted.
Yeah.
The yellow on the tower.
Yep.
Got it, okay. Something that's more in the vibrant, a little more vibrant tone.
Instead of bright yellow, right?
That's where where it showed very orange. Yeah, exactly, right there, these accents.
So you would want to go more yellow?
Yeah, than that.
Go a lighter wood.
A lighter wood than that, but not.
Because that up against that dark putty color kind of, I don't want to go as yellow as the rendering.
Right. And with the wood grain, it kind of darkens it a little bit. But something a little bit brighter than this, and probably reconsider the frame, the fiber cement color around it, so they work together in a better way.
You see that next to the gray, because I mean,
The
this.
gray. Well, the gray is kind of where we might, with this change, we might reconsider this.
Yeah, because.
This stone a little bit, so that they don't blend together. We want them to contrast.
Because right now that wood is very similar to the brick.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So this will definitely contrast more with the brick.
Contrast.
Yeah. But it doesn't come in contact with the red.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard that, because none of these colors match the red.
English oak just doesn't go with any of the other color palettes. It certainly doesn't go with that gray siding.
No, but like a whitewashed would look, I mean, that's getting orangey yellow. You have to really be careful with like those wood tones. It just feels, I don't know.
I'm just trying to get them to have a more Scandinavian feel to that building than.
Because see, even with this rendering, you see how it starts to just, and that's truer to what they presented, and that's a little truer to that, but not as bright as that for sure. But
Right. Definitely. And they've got there are other options in that range, so we could look at a couple of different, try to maybe mute the orange out of it a little bit. Still make it a little bit warmer than this, so it's got given more punch, but not necessarily orange, which we agree that that's not what we want.
Okay.
All right, thank you for that color.
Do we have public input for this part? Okay. Awesome. If you just identify yourself as you step up and we'll let you speak.
She's had enough of all these things. My name is Al Hodges, and
Just 1 second, sorry.
There's, yeah, there is going on there.
I think, yep.
okay, Al Hodges, 100 Strode Circle. My parents bought the first lot, 101 Strode, in 1941. The second lots were bought in 1948. When we built the house, it was cute pavement, which is me. So 77 years ago. This is a view out of my front door. In case you wondered, this is the view out of my front door. This is probably the worst planning commissions and city council view I've ever gone through. Initially, there was going to be a 3-story, 50-bed building at this site. Somehow, one of the planning commission members suggested, why don't we lower the Riggs Drive side of the building from 7 to 5? stories and put some housing on the 400 site. Okay, these gentlemen did that, but never did present a picture of the building. The only thing they ever presented to the planning commission was a view sort of like this. All the diagrams you're seeing, 400, have never really been presented to planning commission. I don't think city council saw them. Somehow or the other, in the process, the 50 beds in a 3-story building somehow morphed into a 70-foot tall, 70,000 square foot, had 130 beds initially. It's been trimmed down somewhat from that. But, you know, it was never any review. You guys did a great job when you looked at the 398 building. I believe the one comment was, it looks like a prison. I'm not sure which of y'all said that, but, and then they went back and redid the texturing of the look of the building. But this building has never been reviewed by anybody. You know, you're doing more right now than has ever happened by planning commission or city council. So I think that was kind of a travesty of justice. The other factor, when my wife and I had been here since moved back here when I retired from Air Force in 93. In 2013, we had a major flood in Clemson. It rained approximately 20-something inches in 5 days.
Al, I'm gonna have to rein you in. We need to keep on track.
This is
not.
This is landscape. I'm getting to landscape.
Okay.
Okay. We had that property 398 and 102 rigs next to it was underwater. Then we find out, Corps of Engineers sent this out. The city should have delivered this to anyone in the area. We found out about somebody next door dug up. The property at 398 can be flooded up to 670 feet MSL by the Corps of Engineers. Yeah, God rains lake level. In 2013, the lake was up probably 4 feet. We had 20 inches of rain. This property was underwater. 102 had, I might say, logs floating in it due to the high water. My yard, my garage on 100 Strode, my 2-car garage, my Camry sitting in my garage was being flooded by the water seeping in through the door seals. So I'm very concerned about the landscaping, the fact that they're going to be diverting to, the creek that comes down from Douthat Hills, that drains the Douthat Hills, the Daniel Square, the 99 Wyatt, the youth center, the back of the youth center, and all of Riggs Drive. They're going to be combining 2 creeks to go through what they call.
Al, this is drainage, not landscaping.
This is getting to landscape because the creek, the preserved creek is going to have an extra, to have 2 streams flooding through it. Now, they say they're going to build their furnished level at 671 feet, or 671 and a half feet, a foot and a half above the level of floodplain. So I'm just concerned about their landscaping and my landscaping. It was what kind of water they can have. We had a flood in August. Actually, it was just a small flood, 1 cloud. But their property was underwater where their preserved creek is. I think it would probably have reached up to their, so-called patio there. So that's my situation there. Yeah, as a very concerned citizen who's going to be living with this thing, I'm the nearest resident to it, and I'm very concerned about what kind of landscaping they have and how they're going to handle the creek to prevent water flowing back into my yard. So, thank y'all. This is more of an engineering situation, but it's something that they're talking landscaping, so I'll throw it to you. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank y'all.
Is there any other public comment? So at this point, we're going to discuss the materiality of the buildings, right? We'll have time to study through the landscaping and process that outside of this meeting. These are the notes I've made in terms of materials, okay? We talked about with the 400 building increasing the height of the brick to avoid the wedding cake look. We talked about a lighter color on the wood-like material in the little tower element. It sounded to me like a lot of people prefer the dark bottom to that element versus the same color of the wood. Yeah. let's see, what else? The lightest color that's been shown to us, revisiting that, right? And then on the backside, as we move into Strode and Riggs, looking at some horizontal articulation with the red brick banding. Those are the things I have written down. Is there
Horizontal
any?
articulation and brick detailing, I would
Okay.
say. Kind of continuation of that lane. So you don't have as much of an A and B side.
And these comments apply to both 400 and 398. And the renderings, the gentleman pointed out, again, don't show the articulation of the material and the things, but we understand that all being now cementitious board with board and batten detail.
Now, just as far as the hardscape, the one comment we had written in from the neighbor, well, from the public, was about connecting through the sidewalk to Riggs along the backside there.
Yeah. Where is that in the plans?
Should be on, I think the only thing that would show that would be the site reference plan on 1.0.
1.0?
Let me tell you how well.
So basically going up alongside the youth center?
Yeah, you can kind of see, so in between, yeah, the youth center, you can see it kind of coming down, if you look real gently, it goes right there.
It's over the drain.
Yeah, and then you can see the kind of, what looks kind of like a driveway, but it's grass creek, is my understanding, correct?
That's correct.
Where that ends, it just ends there. I guess the question, this is page L1.0S in the,
So they're requesting a continuance.
they want to continue that to the sidewalk out in Riggs.
Okay.
The one thing I wanted to talk about is the topo.
Yeah.
Because if it is going to become pedestrian, I mean, is that accessible?
Well, you guys already have the sidewalk going the whole way, right up to that point.
Do we all the way back there?
There is a good bit of grade change getting back up to college, and in addition to that, with this being our service side of the building,
It's not meant to be a pedestrian
there's
sidewalk.
actually there's actually a small generator there, so like it's not set to be a pedestrian connection through there.
Right.
It was under my understanding that you're doing the sidewalk all the way up to Keith Street, correct?
Oh, in the front, they're
Yeah,
doing,
in the front.
yes, in the front, they're doing the 10-foot sidewalk and bike lanes all the way up to Keith Street.
Riggs sidewalk.
Well, that's something else. So the rig sidewalk, it appears now in this rendering, does not wrap all the way around. So I guess that's kind of thing, is we need to connect through one place or the other, I would think.
So the sidewalk's not.
That's a
The
new one.
sidewalk and our meeting with the plan flip for the LDP, the city engineers wanted to take the sidewalk to the other side of the street. And I think that's been discussed with Mauricio. Whereas originally, we had shown it wrapping around, like on this side.
Because that was the plan that, right, where the
They were
sidewalk.
already doing this, and they wanted us
I
to
mean, I personally would be more of a fan of keeping that sidewalk there and changing those angled spots into
So it's not
two
that the
parallel.
sidewalk's not gonna go in,
They
it's
go
just
past
not under
starting
our
to look
jurisdiction.
It's not along our side of Riggs.
It's going on.
Other side of Riggs.
But that was because I remember as residents, we got to offer our opinion, and it would change the flow pattern. Like if it didn't switch, it would become one way. Do you remember? Do you remember that? They sent out 3 different options.
We had chosen closing rigs to make it strictly one way. Now the plan is at the culvert, like where the creek goes underneath Riggs
Talk to the
Drive.
city
they're
engineer,
gonna have
because
to choke
I would assume you
so to
probably,
speak,
you know,
where
we're putting it on the far
cars
side.
go uphill.
Yeah, we're
But
calling
these
it
guys
either
put it
side
on
of
this
the
side.
road, but
Yeah.
it was they were the ones that.
Choke won't be on.
I mean,
What are those
Too
parking
many
spaces
sidewalks in
for?
Clemson.
I know that was the
take
whole
those out,
thing.
put in a loading area there, or in some parallel spots.
Yes.
And put the sidewalk
Which is how,
around, right?
yeah.
And from the
Yeah, exactly.
developer's
That's what we're talking about, like
perspective,
a
we're
drop-off
happy
Uber
to
spot.
put it in either location.
Yeah.
I think we would just want final direction from.
Yeah, well, before the next meeting, we'll make sure that all the city staff is on the same page with this, because I think we've talked about changing over those parallel spots to like an Uber pickup drop-off area, like, and then bringing the sidewalk across there, but.
And the recommendation from the community member, like, in theory, it sounds nice, but it doesn't really cut off that much.
No, not really.
in the way of walking distance.
And we also, like he said, he did recommend warm light, but we have to be careful about directing people down weird dark alleys.
Into residential.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more worried about, is like the flow coming back.
Coming
that way
back
as opposed
into
to
the-
our neighborhood, to the street.
I mean,
to the downtown.
Currently, is there a way to get from,
You cannot make that where he's drawing that, you cannot make that walk now.
You have to go
It's
down to
topography.
okay, so
Not
that,
losing it.
so that walk cannot be made now, so it's not like there's a walkway statute of limitations or something?
No, there's no walkway there.
Okay.
I would argue to carry the sidewalk around the street.
Yeah,
Around the street side. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
that's just bad news.
During any of this.
I think the idea of an alley leading into I just don't think that would.
Yeah.
I think this.
But I think preserving those trees along the creek, like, I think that we would probably rather look at turning those angle parking spots into like parallel spots and an Uber drop off or something along those lines, rather than, taking down the big tree to make a sidewalk on the backside there.
But you're gonna talk to the city
Yeah,
engineer.
I'll talk to the
to-
city engineer about what he wants,
So,
but.
Was there anything
I've
else
never been
about materials that I needed to, and I'll repeat what I said, but like, did anybody feel like I missed anything? So I'm gonna repeat what I have listed.
So,
and then-
I'll just- like, I don't know if we need to see more samples of the wood. I'm not a fan of the direction it's going, but I just, you know.
So we could stipulate that we see a final.
Or, you know, if there's a set of color tones that range from there to, you know, just to give us something to pick from, that,
We're not voting on this now, we're making a decision.
right, but when they come back, I would wanna see like, hey, this is what we have, you know, that seems reasonable.
And I would like to see accurate renderings, not two different ones that have way different colors from the samples. Because none of these match what you guys want in.
I lost my papers, hold on, bear with me. Lost my.
I don't know who printed what.
Yeah,
I mean, that could have been two different printers.
Give me 1 second. I just gotta find my agenda.
This is closer to what they showed, but.
Did it get eaten up? What do you got eaten up? Okay, here we go, we got eaten up. Okay, so it says they're requesting approval.
They're not requesting approval, but.
So where do we feel like we stand in terms of materials? Do we want to go recommendation route and not approval? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna read through again the things that we spoke to in terms of guidance versus stipulations, right? So that we look at the horizontal brick detailing as on the red brick as it turns into Strode and Riggs. That we look at possible lighter tones for the wood-like material. We tend to like the darker bottom to that tower element, and we'd like to see increased brick on the 400 building as it faces College Avenue and turns to Strode. Was there any other guidance we would like to offer in terms of material? Maybe just we spoke to this, the paver, the kind of yellowness of it, you know, think about that as well, because we'll have time to have looked through the landscaping plans when we come back next time to speak to that.
That was PO7.
PO7. Any other?
One quick question, what is the material on the dark base option?
That would be metal. The darker metal, similar to what we're using for accents at the front.
Okay, no.
Do y'all need anything else from us in terms of guidance? Do you feel good about what we've said in terms of clarity?
Yeah, absolutely, yep.
Okay. So at that point, we are ready to move into staff reports. Any staff reports?
We do not have, well, we have more PDs coming your guys' way, it sounds like.
And we are going to continue with, we are going to continue with being part of the process.
Yeah, at least the one across the street, my recommendation is try to get them in front of you guys. Well, we have another one proposed at the Best Western over there.
And then this phase is, I think, is very important that we're part of the wrapping up of it and making sure it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you might even, hopefully, it's gonna be actually, more involved earlier on in the
Okay.
development of that one. We'll see.
Yeah,
And then-
because Kiwi Trail is they're basically shooting us to the moon with that parking garage back there. We can't let that happen again.
Yep, I mean, fortunately, that one is what it is.
And that was addressed by the planning commission. I know that sheer parking deck side was brought up. So, do we have any other business?